how to put up a pop-up gazebo on your own. You'll see here I'm going to show you exactly how I went through this step by step. I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks that will help you, especially if you want to set it up alone or on your own. Also a quick way of putting it away so it takes up less space. This is the Master Canopy 3x2 pop-up tent gazebo. I needed a place where I can just use for shelter on a beach, and I picked this up and I bought this with my own money, so you can see how this works out. First thing I discovered was it's quite a big option. When it's folded down, it's quite heavy, but it's got its own roller wheels. You'll notice when I was setting it up, I pulled it out of the bag, put it on the floor, and I hammered in one corner of the actual leg. There's holes there which you could put a tent peg in. You want to be on a location where it's grass ideally, or beach, so you can weight or heavy down one corner. And then I put the canopy on top. So these are the main tips that will help you, because when you're pulling, you can actually pull towards that leg which is pegged into the ground, which then gives you that option to be able to stretch it out. And you keep stretching until you get to a point where it clicks and all the actual internals have velcros to hold them in place. You go around and velcro each corner in, and the main thing here is keeping your eyes on the corners, because they actually do extend out the legs. So you can extend the legs out and work your way around slowly, extending each leg out and lifting up the canopy. It's quite a heavy option, but I like that it's a bit more sturdy. I've seen some which are a bit flimsy, so I can see this withstanding weight, and it's got little tie down points on the corner as well. So the main takeaways here is make sure you pin down one corner of the actual canopy to the floor, the leg, and then as you pull out you'll hear it clicking into place. And if it doesn't click, you can just, like an umbrella, pull up and you'll see that there's different measurements there for the legs and the height, so you can have it as tall as you want. If it's a windy day, you can have it a little bit lower. And these all seem like a nice option. I wanted something that I could set up on my own in like a camping scenario. If you wanted a shelter, or if you wanted to put your camera gear underneath it, it's just a good place to keep things and easy to set up. Is it the most lightweight option? No, it's not. I would probably consider a top with poles for lightweightness, but this, for ease of setup and how sturdy it actually becomes, it is a good consideration. And you can peg down all the legs, and then that way you've got a good firm base that won't fly away, and you can use even the tie down points on the corners. I'm going to also show you a quick trick of packing this away, because the worst thing with these types of things is when you get it, it's all nicely packed up in a small case. When you're trying to fold it away, does it fit back in the case? So we're going to see if that works. And also I discovered that I could leave the canopy on the roof, and that helps the actual putting away process. Mine's came with these bags, so if you're on a sand, you can fill it with sand, and the corners are weighed down so they don't fly away if you can't get pegs in. I'm 5'8", and you can see it stands comfortably over my head, and it's like no problems at its highest setting. So I'm putting the little pins out from the legs and slowly folding down each leg to put it away. So the main key takeaway here is to ensure that you take down each leg slowly and gradually. And then here there's a little button on the corner that you can push. You see that? And it just lifts down the system. When you pull it up, that clicked in place. And I was thinking at this point, I can take the canopy off, but actually I could just fold it with the canopy inside, which means that I don't have to have an extra thing to put away, and it's quite fluffy, the canopy material. So I was able to just push it in slowly. You'll see here, just give it a bit of a shake and then move around and shake each one towards the corner leg that you pegged down. This way you can actually see there, see that, how you're pushing that slowly, and just work your way around. There's no rush, take your time, slowly push it in, and this will give you a nice option, because you can push down the canopy into the gaps and it all is self-contained. So the next time you pull it up, you don't have to put the canopy on again, because it's actually included in this section which is folding away. So keep going until you get to a point where it's nice and tight. You could even use a bit of paracord to tie it around just to keep it nice and tight. I didn't need to. You'll see here now, you're just pushing towards the leg that you pegged down. There you go. So nice and small. And then this is all real time +1, I think. This is double the speed at 1 point, just so I can show you how long it takes. Then you can actually put the little bags on top. If you're filling these with sand, they're going to get a bit messy, but you can see here I tried to put them on top, then put the case over the top. The case is quite a good case. It's got wheels in the front and it actually holds all of it together. It'll take a little bit of coercing to get down onto there, but I'll speed this a little bit up next just to show you how long it takes. And you can see, using the case, you can just push it over the top. The bags are a little bit bigger, And this is where the paracord would have come in handy, because I could have tied it together to keep all the legs together, but it took a little bit of time. But you were able to slide it on, and keeping the canopy material, like the waterproof stuff on top, it meant that everything was self-contained, so I didn't have to put the legs in and then find space to put the bag of the canopy in separately. This way I'm just slowly moving it down the legs. It's nice tight fit, a nice tight squeeze, but it was manageable. I've had tents which are harder to put away than this, so I think it's a good option. You can see the little section there with the legs and the nuts on, legs and rollers. And this is the point where I'm taking the pin out the floor. I use the better quality pegs for holding it in place, and this is where you can just slide it, and you see how nicely, easily it went through there. And then you can just put the bags in the bottom because there's a bit of space there, and it works nicely. I'm hoping if you're thinking about like a canopy, this one I'm sure you can set up on your own. So I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in buying this. You can see how much it's worth, but definitely a good pickup.